Oh, hip and shoulder there.
The chance now for a goal lead. I think it's gone through. It's a goal. The red and white flags wave.
It's one of the biggest rivalries in Australian football. East Fremantle.
Centering kick O'Brien. I had too much carry for Higgins and Ellis camping at the back.
And South Fremantle.
They needed him to come to the fore. He's third for the afternoon.
It's just the way things have been since the year 1900.
Oh, he played on.
Oh, God.
He definitely played on and was taken out by Ellis. Good kick, just offline. He got good distance with it. Now it's on between Collard and Lester Smith. I guess that was inevitable.
And for about half of last century, the two teams shared not just the rivalry, but Fremantle Oval as well. That was until 1952 when, following redevelopment, East Fremantle Oval was ready to take on a tenant of its own, and Old Easts made the trip inland. Both sides created plenty of memories at their respective home grounds.
Peak runs to 30 metres and has drilled through another one for East Fremantle.
And through a golden era of local football, the short distance between the two clubs only enhanced that tribal feeling.
Horace Rioli goes in. Sims has got him around the head. Now this is a fierce box on in the centre circle. It's all in there. Now some solid punches going in. Sewell goes in. Bauskas and Carter. Carter attempted a king hit. Bauskas from behind.
But now East Fremantle Oval has fallen into decay. And despite minor redevelopments over the last number of years, the club, now known as the Sharks, is exploring the option of returning to where it all began.
It's been a long process with the East Fremantle, town of East Fremantle, and considering our options at East Fremantle Oval. We're at a point in time now where we haven't reached a resolution, and we need to, on behalf of our members, we need to consider all options for our facility's future. And with the Dockers announcing their impending relocation to Coburn, we think it's provided an opportunity to at least look at that as an option for the club.
I sat down with the two CEOs, Adam Kelly of East Fremantle, Stuart Kemp of South Fremantle. Originally the plan was to redevelop East Fremantle Oval. What are some of the obstacles you've encountered in trying to make this happen?
I guess the funding proposition's the major challenge for us, and we've been working with the town of East Fremantle to try and get a resolution to that. And I guess we've been hinging our hopes on other developments to happen on the site, commercial and residential development to contribute to the funding of a new facility. And to this point in time, the appetite from the town of East Fremantle hasn't been where we would have liked it to be, and we need to consider other options. We briefed our members about our investigation of Fremantle Oval, and we'll continue to work with them, update them on the progress that we're making, with a view that our 2014 AGM will present some of the options that the club can consider moving forward.
Stuart, will you roll out the red carpet or blue carpet for East Fremantle?
Definitely red carpet. I think, look, from an on-field perspective, we're always going to be bitter rivalries. But I think from a perspective of off-field, we'll roll out the red carpet of cooperation, if you want to call it that, yeah.
What are the benefits for your club?
The biggest benefit is from a perspective of saving costs. Electricity bills, gas bills, water bills, all those sorts of things, that's the biggest benefit. The council has been 100% behind it and are really looking forward to the possibility of having co-tenancy here. And also, it'll certainly be a financial windfall, we believe, for the city of Fremantle and the businesses around town.
In a football sense, when you look at what East Perth and Subiaco have done at Leederville, is that the ideal model for co-tenancy?
Look, I think they've done it pretty well over there, speaking to both clubs. There's always going to be, I guess, some ground sharing sort of issues, but both clubs can work through that. And from a football perspective, we have Colts reserves a league, so it's something that would need to work through, yeah.
And I guess the way we approach it is, and South Fremantle will be no different. It be intense competition on the field, but I guess it needs to be intense collaboration off the field to make something like this work. And we understand that what happens inside the white line will remain as fierce and competitive as what it ever has been. But I guess off field we need to start collaborating with each other for a good outcome for both clubs.
Much of this is conditional on the Fremantle Dockers' proposed move to a new training and administration facility at Coburn Central.
It's opened up the opportunity to investigate. Without the Dockers making that announcement, I guess this isn't an opportunity that we'd be looking at. I understand that they believe that they could be out there by 2017, so it's not in the it's a not too distant future, and that's why we need to start investigating the possibilities now.
Stuart, I imagine your club would be pretty keen to redevelop the facilities you have here as well?
Yeah, 50 years old, roughly. We need some a lick of paint and you know, certainly look at the facilities, and if the opportunity arises out of this business case to do that, all the better.
So from this point right now, what needs to happen here to make this work?
Well, I think we all need to sit down. The most important thing is the key stakeholders need to sit down and cooperate for the better of football in West Australia. And I think we'll be doing that by getting together some focus groups and working out where to head to from here in relation to the business case.
And that process will be starting in the coming weeks, where we bring together both clubs, the Department of Sport and Recreation, West Australian Football Commission, the City of Fremantle, and we bring all stakeholders together and start to work through what are the key criteria and initiatives that we need to consider for Fremantle Oval.
So after more than 60 years in separate corners, it seems there are changes on the horizon for these two proud organisations. So just how were things last time? A young man by the name of Percy Johnson played his first couple of seasons with East Fremantle back when they were based in the heart of town. Well, Percy, here we are, the middle of Fremantle Oval. Take us back to 1952 and the last time the two sides shared the ground.
Yeah, no, I played here in 51 and 52. I came straight from Aquinas and played here with blokes like Jack Sheedy and Jimmy Conway and Vicky French and George Prince. And East Fremantle had the hospital end of the ground. South Fremantle trained on the prison end of the ground. And like I've said to people quite often, after a derby you could probably end up in either or both, because they were fairly volatile, because we shared our rooms. We came out of the old grandstand, we came out of what would be the hospital end, and they came out of the prison end, and we trained and we just shared the ground. And there were 40 people, there were seconds, league and reserves, there were no Colts in those days, but we shared the ground. It was brilliant. And the quality of players, you can imagine the South blokes, they had Marsh and Naylor and company, and brilliant players, Treasure Erickson, Clive Lewington, absolutely brilliant footballers on this paddock at that stage, believe me.
So what was it like on Derby Day, both during the game and also afterwards? Was there much socialising going on?
Well, they worked together, most of those blokes. Most of those blokes, predominantly, all worked together on the wharf. They rode bikes to come down to training. They knew each other extremely well. There was a lot of shayaking, a lot of communication, but basically there was a tremendous amount of respect. Yeah, the derbies were hard. Footy was a bit harder in those days because men came out of the war. Blokes like George Prince, they were big men. But they'd come out of the war, Jack Sheedy, they were physically strong men. And there was none of this that if you hit them to head-high bumps, you get suspended, and there was one umpire. So it was hard footy. But after that, no, the atmosphere was good, the training atmosphere was good. It was a tremendous feeling. There was a bike track around the edge of the ground, and because bike riding was very big in Fremantle in those days. And no, I reckon I was a bit sad actually when we went to East Fremantle Oval in 53.
So do you think the Sharks moving back to Fremantle Oval would be a good thing for the rivalry?
I think it's good for footy. I think ground sharing's got to happen. I think East Fremantle now, the facilities are starting to run down. South Fremantle are talking about this running down. If you can share the spend, then things have got to be better for footy. We've got to keep as much money in footy for development. That's the development of young players playing the game, not so much on facilities. So I think it's a tremendous thing, and it's great for Fremantle. I really want to see East Fremantle come back in. Now, there might be others that don't, but I am an East Fremantle man. I'm a life member there. You know, my whole life was there. Like I said, I got married there, my kids were born there, and I played a lot there, and so did my kids. But no, this would be great. And coming to a derby now, look at it around here. Blimey, Charlie, you've got terraces all around the place. You can pack them in, and they should have a good time, Barrack, and it should be good. It should be great.